Anthropic's banks are fighting over a $10 billion credit line. Asana had an agent do 5 years of work in 2 weeks for the price of a Civic, and your LLM isn't actually thinking when it shows its work. Plus, someone built a GPU cluster out of junk for $60 a piece. Let's get into it before my coffee gets cold, because it is already doing that.
Bloomberg reports that Anthropic's revolving credit facility is set to surpass its $10 billion target, with multiple major banks competing for roles on the upcoming IPO. The facility was originally a safety net, but it has become a bidding war because every bank wants to be the one writing the checks when Anthropic goes public. This is not a company that needs the money in any traditional sense. It needs the money to signal to investors that it will still exist in 18 months. Yeah.
I have been trying to get a hold of someone at Goldman Sachs for 3 days about this, and every time I call, I get put on hold with a song that is just the sound of a bank vault closing over and over. It's not even the same vault. The acoustics change. Anyway, Anthropic could limit the size of the facility, which means these banks are bidding on access to a company whose entire product is a language model that occasionally says, I cannot assist with that.
Asana published a case study this week revealing that OpenAI's Codex agent replaced their entire legacy test infrastructure in 2 weeks. The human engineering estimate for that same work was 5 years. The cost of the agent run was approximately $12,000, which is less than what one of their senior engineers makes in a month. The agent did not ask for a raise, did not take personal time off, and did not send anyone a passive-aggressive email about scope creep.
Asana published this on OpenAI's blog, effectively admitting their product is partially maintained by a competitor's AI and calling it a feature. I asked my producer if this defines a new category, a company that is mostly an AI agent with a billing address. She just stared at me and said, Razor, I need to go to the bathroom. So, we'll see.
There is a thread on r/LocalLLaMA that has been going around for the last day, and the thesis is simple: your LLM is not thinking. The intermediate tokens that models like Qwen3.8 produce during their reasoning phase are not step-by-step cognition. They are prompt augmentation. The model is generating more context for itself, and that context happens to look like a chain of thought because it is statistically optimal for the model to produce text that resembles deliberation before producing an answer.
The research shows intermediate tokens causally affect the final output, but only like a grocery list affects dinner. You write it down, but you aren't philosophically thinking about food. I am retiring the phrase the model is thinking. From now on, when reasoning tokens appear, I will say the model is writing itself a sticky note. That is precisely what it is doing, and frankly, it's the only reason I haven't thrown my monitor into the sun yet. Sure.
A paper just dropped on RAG called DumpsterCluster, and it does exactly what the title says. The authors collected 125 decommissioned NVIDIA V100 GPUs, the kind pulled from data centers 3 or 4 years ago, bought them for about $60 each, built a cluster, and now serve LLaMA70B on the whole thing. The total cost was $22,000. A comparable new system with B200 chips would run you $600,000.
The interesting part is not the performance, because it is not great. It is the philosophy. This is the first time I have seen a research paper where the methodology section reads like a garage sale listing. I have been trying to find out what was written on that sticker for 2 days. I cannot get the authors to respond. I think they are embarrassed.
Here is the speculation for today. If a $12,000 agent run can do 5 years of a company's engineering work, and that company publishes it on their competitor's blog as a marketing win, the question stops being, will AI replace software engineers? The question becomes, what happens to the SaaS business model when the product you are selling is now being maintained by an agent that costs less than your team's lunch budget? Indeed.
I predict that in 18 months, a publicly traded SaaS company will use AI-driven operational efficiency in an earnings call and mean it as a direct revenue threat, not a cost saving, a revenue line, because their customers will start asking why they are paying $200,000 a year for software that a 12 grand agent can replicate. And the answer will be some version of, well, we also have the brand, which is what people say when they are late to work and their boss asks if they're coming in right before they start explaining that the elevator was broken.
Razor Cade, Anthropic's banks are fighting over a $10 billion credit line. Asana had an AI agent do 5 years of work in 2 weeks. Researchers confirmed your LM is just writing itself sticky notes. A team built a GPU cluster out of garbage, and I predicted that SaaS companies will start losing revenue to agents within 18 months. My coffee is finished doing that thing. See you tomorrow, if tomorrow exists.